Hello and welcome to the 25th episode of the fourth season of Next Generation's First Generation, a Star Trek Next Generation watch along podcast where me, Patrick Delmore, and my co-host Sascha Shouties
Hello there, people.
watch every episode of Star Trek The Next Generation on its 30th anniversary and provide commentary and sometimes context for the episodes. And ladies and gentlemen, today we have a doozy of an episode. It is In Theory, where, as the Netflix description explains, a female crew member is infatuated with Data and he decides to give romantic relationships a try. And I think this is an amazing episode with lots to talk about, and I'm excited to hear what Sascha has to say and even what you guys might think about the episode. So if you have thoughts after you hear us talk, or if you remember details about this episode, please don't hesitate to email us at nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. And so, without further ado, let's give our countdown. You can cue this up and watch along, or just listen to us talk as you drive or exercise, or however it is that you choose to consume us. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Oh, we're scanning.
Yep.
Scanning or pushing buttons. Bipeds pushing buttons. Bipeds scanning.
Now, Data is the second officer of the Enterprise.
Yeah,
So
just
the third highest ranking member of the ship. And this lieutenant here, who will go on to play Superman's adopted mother on Superman and Lois.
I think her name's Michelle Scarabelli, if I'm not
She's,
mistaken.
She has grown to have a bit of a crush on her commanding officer.
Is it too early to say that she also starred in a movie called The Guaranteed Way to Pick Up Single Women in 1987?
That was a few years before this.
Mm-hmm. She was also in 2001: A Space Travesty.
Oh, dear.
Oh, so it starts with casual conversation about her relationship. Data's making a passive comment. Oh, you are no longer coupled.
Yep. Which you do, he's learned to be around people. He's able to be friendly. He's not saying anything insulting to her. And I think that... Oh, go ahead, Sascha.
I just saw an error. So there's a device in her hand that she's holding. When she got up and walked away from the torpedo, it was still on top of the torpedo. And then when they went to the scene, it was in her hand. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I think this episode came about because there were several fans of the show that had written in that sent fan letters to Brent Spiner and to the show saying that they thought that Data would be the perfect romantic partner. And this episode was kind of made to show like why maybe that would be the case.
Yeah. Well, for Data, everything is an experiment. And
yes,
one of the things that Data rarely brings up are the consequences of his experiments.
Well, no, I think for everybody, everything new that you do is an experiment to see how it works. But we have heard Data talk about, what goes on in the experiments that he's done. What he's kept private about and who doesn't come up in this episode is Tasha Yar.
True.
Because we're going to talk about how in this episode that he supposedly can't develop feelings for somebody or feel different ways about things. And that's not strictly true. Especially because Data's arc ends on Picard by telling Picard that he loves him. So he has the ability to change and grow. He is an evolving program.
Well, this episode first aired in June 3rd. So let's see here.
Which was the day that Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
Oh no.
Which I found out before the show that Sasha is not familiar with that song.
No, I'm gonna have to
It's
YouTube it
a classic.
afterwards.
Yep.
This is
Look
the
for Roseanne Cash doing it. Lots of people have sung it. It's like an old standard.
Mm-hmm. You know, this episode here is the 98th episode. Holy
wow.
freaking smokes. That's a lot.
Yep.
Anyway, so this is Ronald D. Moore and Joe Minoski wrote this episode. I know that you had said earlier that people are interested in Data having a relationship. That was also true with Spock, is that folks wanted to see Spock in relationships. And this was kind of a natural extension on top of the letters that they were receiving. It's like, okay, might be something we can do. And there was a little bit of collaboration between the two men who conspired to get this taken care of. So that's Sir Ronald Moore and Joe.
Well, I have a feeling that Brent Spiner worked quite a bit on how Data does certain things in this episode as well.
Oh, yeah. I think you'd be a fool not to consult the actor who knows the character. Oh, there we are. Keiko plays the clarinet. Look at that. I did not know that.
Yep.
Oh, and one of the Star Wars guys is there. Look at that.
I was going to say, yeah. The Cantina Band.
Mm-hmm. That's right about where Keiko gives birth, too.
Yep. It's interesting that they have this as a concert that everybody has to sit and watch. And it's not like just, hey, it's this hour of the day and this group will get together and play while people eat and socialize. Like everybody who goes into 10 forwards, like, oh, got to sit and watch this concert.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have their concert hall on the ship too.
Yeah.
So Miles congratulates Keiko, and our lieutenant here is feeling a little bit jealous because there's nobody there to congratulate her. So she pushes Data a little bit.
Yeah. Well, she's
by negging herself initially, and lets Data kind of build her up.
Just about this time, I was learning the trombone, and so when I heard her say coda, I'm like, oh, I know what that is. Oh my gosh, it's a music thing. I get it. This is the first episode directed by Patrick Stewart.
Yep. I know he also directed Fistful of Datas, so he liked doing those Data episodes. Yep.
Oh, that's funny. So now we are. Oh, they set them in the uncomfortable couples conversation. Boy, girl.
Poor O'Brien here, because it's like, oh, great, dinner with the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Kate. This is another story that we don't know, is that Data has a very close relationship with Keiko. She considers him her surrogate father, we've had said in the episode where Keiko and O'Brien got married. Mm-hmm. She's somebody that Data feels comfortable socializing with. And again, our lieutenant is jealous watching this couple, and she wants to try to recreate that with Data, which is weird because he is her, like, one of the most superior people to her on the ship. So it is kind of weird that she would initiate flirtation with him. But she knows that she probably will not be reprimanded in any kind of uncomfortable way for it.
Oh,
if he doesn't like it, he'll just shut it down as easily as possible. And B, he'll follow her lead.
Yeah.
At this point, she'll set the table and Data will go, okay, this is how I'm supposed to act in a situation like this. Which you could see the advantages of.
Mm-hmm. So here we're on the bridge. They're talking about shooting torpedoes in this cloud, and they're trying to measure something.
Yeah, this episode, I wish that they had dedicated all of it to Data's relationship, but we have to have an anomaly story in it. It does have some fun trick effects.
They've actually reused that cloud, that nebula, so many times.
Is that the same one from Wrath of Khan?
Yeah, no. Even before that, I think Star Trek 1, to tell you the truth.
Oh, crazy!
Yeah. Oh, she dropped a hypo spray. Why is
No,
this
things are
sterile?
becoming incorporeal.
Yeah, but you think that, oh, this sterile device is on the floor. Let me just put it back on the table.
Sterilizes itself.
Yeah. So now we're back at work, and they're talking about the good old days. So I think one of the reasons why Data would make an appealing partner is that he will listen. He will let you carry on.
Yep.
And now she's kind of romanticizing about her past with him,
mm-hmm.
which kind of creates a false impression that he's into her.
Mm-hmm.
I make her laugh. What did I do? I like how I like how he looks truly confused sometimes. That's good acting.
Yep. But he also, worked on his humor, and what he's doing now, he doesn't understand why that would make somebody laugh. And she construes his, doing basically he's doing the right thing, and she sees it as kindness, which kindness is not the same as doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, it's
if you smile and say hello to me and every morning, I will smile and say hello back to you. And that's not kind. That's just doing the right thing.
But then when someone who works for you reaches over and kisses you on the ear, like she just did,
mm-hmm.
wouldn't that just be a little bit inappropriate?
Absolutely.
It's like, so I'm third in command on the ship, and now I have someone kissing me.
Yep.
He would have to call her out right there.
Yes.
In fact, it was always kind of a gray zone in Starfleet about relationships.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they probably practice kitchen table polyamory on the Enterprise. Now, I have, and I wish that Guinan had said something a little bit different to him than what she says, or just added a little bit more. So she has a concoction now. She's mixed two things together to make one thing, and she's going to have Data take a sip. And Data, gives an exact analysis of what it is.
Targ milk.
Yeah.
We know what that is.
Yeah.
Data, I don't think he can give an emotional analysis of a drink.
No. What I would have liked to have happen is if he had sipped that, and she says, did you like it? After he gave her that thing, and he goes, I suppose I did. And she's like, well, have more. And he's like, well, I don't need to have more. And she's like, but if you like some, doesn't it follow that you'll like more better? And that sets up what is going on here, is that Data decides to change his pattern of behavior to conform to what he thinks that lieutenant will want. And that ends up being a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
If he had continued acting exactly the way he was, she would have been a lot happier.
Well,
she was already getting out of it what she wanted to get out of it.
Well, there's anticipation, and then there's reality. And in human relationships, especially in new ones, anticipation mm-hmm. is where a lot of the fun and the excitement is. But once you settle down and start getting to know someone, you have to make a choice. Do I stay or do I go?
Yep.
I really think that the Orville did a much better job on this same concept.
I was going to say, and they covered it over several episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it from the human's point of view rather than from the robot's point of view too, which was important. And it was a character that we knew, Penny Johnson, the doctor on the show. Mm-hmm. We'd seen her before instead of a character that, comes in and then leaves again. What would have been more interesting to do on this is to have somebody who was not neurotypical be interested in Data?
Oh, now that would be interesting.
Somebody who has a different, processes emotions in a different way than most people do.
I was very fascinated by the aspect that Spot and other cats could get in and out of the quarters, the apartment.
No, this is another anomaly. The door became incorporeal in the cat.
Oh, right.
Like what happened with Crusher's deal.
But we also know that at some point Spot gets pregnant and has little lizard babies.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Where does that door go behind Data's desk?
I don't know.
I think that's where he keeps that's the oil room.
Yeah. The oil room with many, many images of Tasha Yar. It's my lubrication area, Jordy.
It's my 0W20 room.
Yeah. And now, so the advice Guinan actually did give Data in the previous scene was that this girl's coming out of a bad relationship. Just tread carefully. So yeah. Jordy's advice is, you know what, dude, I suck at women, and anything I say to you is gonna not be helpful, which is great.
Well, Jordy's advice is pretty good. He's like, play it safe, find somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he goes and talks to Riker, is the one who kind of puts him over the top.
Yes, who's like the reward might actually be better than the risk.
When I was a child, I thought maybe all of this analysis went into every relationship that people ever went into. I was kind of surprised when I realized that was not the case.
No, and how I understand this is Data mistakenly thinks, and I really do think it's a mistake, that the lieutenant wants more from him than he's giving right now. I don't think in the final analysis that she did.
Well,
I think that she was getting in all of the scenes before he sees her again, she was getting exactly what she wanted out of Data.
It was really Data that led her on.
No, not even. He responded to her with kindness, and that's what she wanted, was kindness and somebody to make her laugh.
No, I mean moving forward. We'll see here in a few minutes. Yeah. Because he's trying to satisfy that unmet need that it's not really there.
I love that Worf is like the one guy that's calling him sir. Well, of course, O'Brien has to as well, but the lieutenant should be calling him sir all the time too, and not Data.
And here he is talking to everybody, and we know there's gossip. I want to know what kind of gossip that Riker has and who he talks to, because in the past he's kind of been a chatty guy.
He talks to Troy. I don't think that there is the same level of doctor-patient confidentiality on the ship as there is with a therapist in real life. I think that Troy, brings concerns about people to Riker because they're the two performance evaluation people. And she probably, went in and said like, yeah, I talked to Data. I talked to Lieutenant Jenna, and they're into each other. And Riker's like, cool, let's see what happens. Let's stir that with a stick a little bit. Because the thing about, we both believe that Data and Tasha Yar had more than just their one encounter.
Yeah.
That that he really cared for her, and there was some kind of a relationship. That was private. This is not. This is theater.
Well, here we go. And this is probably one of the most realistic dressed off-duty officers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like, that's actually something that I could see her wearing, just kind of a couple of things thrown on.
Yeah, it's not those crappy fake future clothes that so many characters wear.
Oh, poor Wesley.
Yeah.
Hey, it's that Saurian brandy that that she was just pouring and then forward there is now letting it's in the flower vase.
I mean, that's the other thing is it's like Data would come in and just pick up, and you wouldn't like feel any guilt about it. But look at this. She's like, when he tries to make moves on her, she's like, no, I was in charge, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you be the boss of the ship, and if I decide I want something to happen, I'll be the boss in the bedroom.
Actually, there's a disconnect between scenes from right here and when she kissed him in the torpedo bay. It's like they skipped a step almost.
Well, he wrote what he decided to do was that the best thing to do would be to take a bunch of romantic tropes, and that would have been on the Orville you would have seen him watching a bunch of stuff that was like horribly out of date.
Right. Okay.
I'm imagining him watching like Maurice Chevalier movies or like old Looney Tunes, oh, my little chickadee.
Oh,
we
man.
will fly away together.
Good thing you didn't watch any Pepe Le Pew.
Exactly. He probably did.
So they're kissing. Brent is acting very android when it comes to human emotions.
I want to say that Enterprise was redone for the HD, but I don't know because I didn't watch the SD.
We'll see how it comes around. This is the HD version here. Oh,
everything fell through Picard's desk.
Where's my crystal? Where'd it go? Under the table. Yep, there's the crystal. Look at that.
I like the idea that this was the day that the guy that photographed himself sitting at every captain's desk.
Yeah, that was the day. 9,
he went in there and just threw everything on the floor. Worf, did you see somebody come in here? No. I was talking to Data about girls.
Worf could have just said, "Were you upset, sir?"
Yep.
Did you throw things on the floor?
Pretty much, yeah. We don't ever see Riker's office, do we?
No, we
see
don't.
Him hanging out in the ready room, but I would assume that he's got an office. I mean, I think Data's quarters probably double for his office. But yeah, the only other time you see Riker like at work, which is in lower decks, he's doing everything in 10 forward.
Oh, he looked at the toilet.
Yeah.
We never get to see around that corner.
Nope.
Yeah, it's funny. Even the writers were saying that they had to come up with some stupid anomaly story in order to tie the plots together for a plot.
I'm disappointed because it would have been more fun to see Data and Jenna figuring stuff out.
In fact, had they followed the model of where Dr. Crusher fell in love with that John Doe guy, all they were doing is flying through unexplored space. That was it. There was no anomaly, really.
Right.
That is a terrible gift.
I know. Well, although she does I did like that you saw that she has plants and stuff in her place. She probably just went down to the Replimat like we saw them doing for the O'Brien's wedding. And was like, what's something that Data would like?
Cat's out of the bag. Oh man, what's going on? Huh?
So now, she wants to try to return the favor. He came over and cleaned up. She wants to try to help decorate his space.
How would you feel if a person who had just asked you out came over to your place and then they started cleaning up?
Depends on the person.
Yeah, I'd be a little incensed or maybe embarrassed. Yeah. I'm like, this is my space and I really appreciate it, but I guess it depends what you want out of the relationship too. If you want a lot
Exactly.
out of it, you may not have
You
any
could,
problems with it at
right,
all. It's like, hey, you're engaging with me. Keep going.
right. You could, you can kind of. This is the thing, is us being humans, like you can sense that in a person. Like the reason why they're cleaning up is like if they start cleaning and they're like, oh God, they feel like they're supposed to pick up after me. That's not good. Or their love language is that they clean things. That's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But you would hope that you would know the person well enough to know, the motive behind it. Or like, this place is a mess. I should have cleaned up, and now they're doing it because the place was a mess, and now I feel bad. There's so many reasons why somebody would pick up after another person.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm gonna have to give Jenna kudos here. So she is giving Data a lesson on what is socially appropriate after someone gives you a gift.
Yep.
And I really think if society is so evolved in the future in this setting, that Jenna might actually have some experience dating other species or neurotypical folks, and so explaining customs and culture might come secondhand to exploring a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, if we're going to interact with each other, I would like to be acknowledged in this way. And Data can say, okay, well, I can definitely do that. And here's how I like to be acknowledged, or something like that, where they would have to explain each other's rules and boundaries a little bit more.
Yep. And Data always wants to learn more about what humans do and what's normal. Data really likes that.
Yes. Well, he wants to belong.
Yeah.
He does not. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't think he'd have a problem being an outcast, but there is some sort of motivation for him to be more human, to fit in with the crowd.
Well, that's the goal of his programming, is to be more human.
So we saw the first serious clue of the bulkhead disappearing, then reappearing. Yep. Here we go. M-class planet. And now it's gone. Where'd the planet go? It's in a hole.
Wait, that could happen to our ship.
They cloaked the planet?
Yeah. They hacked the planet? What was the name of that movie where they did that?
I don't remember.
They drive to the center of the Earth.
Oh, yeah. Hey, the planet's back.
The taglines for it was, they hacked the planet.
Now, what's kind of sad is that this is the third Star Trek episode I can think of where a planet disappears and reappears. There's this one. There's the early one where the Enterprise has all its children stolen. It's like the third or fourth episode. Alea. And then DS9 had a planet that time shifted. Yep. Yes. Or
all of the children of the crew of the shuttle. The very poltergeisty scene here.
And this is where you realize that this is a big room. Lots of space. And now they have transparent aluminum. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yep.
It is a thing.
Crazy.
Now, did Star Trek 3 come out? No, 4 come out. Yes, it has. It had come out by the time this came out.
Because this is the year of Star Trek 6. We're in Star Trek's 25th anniversary, and we get a big Klingon story, and then we get to see Mr. Spock before the end of the year, and lots of other stuff. The Bajorans come into the story this year, and not this season, but this year in 1991.
This scene makes me very uncomfortable.
And it should.
I've never been a fan, even when I was a kid. I've never been a fan of someone imposing influence or control over people, or using emotional force to power or pressure. And this is exactly what we're seeing here. I didn't see our flute there on the couch there before. He's not being himself. He's trying to
Yep,
be
and she's
very
trying to signal
emotional.
him that's like, "Hey, rub my feet, dummy." And he can't pick up on that because he's so wrapped up in his program
Yeah.
that all he
Well,
wants to do is like follow the directives of this romance program that he made, which is a terrible program.
you know what she could do is say, "Hey, I'm not in the mood. Let's try this later," which she kind of says,
Yeah.
but it's not that obvious. Like she could say, "Data, I know that you have this routine planned out,
Mm-hmm.
but I've had a really bad day. Can we just save this for tomorrow, and I'll give you feedback
Yep.
on what you've
Yep.
done."
And again, it's not all on her at all.
No, it's
We need
not.
to make sure to clarify that. But yes, they could have agreed that it's like, okay, you have this romance thing. Turn that on when we go to bed.
I don't know. I don't think I'd ever want to date anybody who's acting like this right
No.
now.
Again, he probably he took it from a bunch of weird movies, and
If
and
anything,
he can't really read faces and body language, which is really sad.
in fact, I'm getting some like creeper lore vibes of Lore was a sex offender.
Exactly.
Oh, that's where that Data singing line comes from.
Yeah.
I always wondered where they sampled that from. That's the Pogo song.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Data's switch is very prominent there in the shot. I don't know if you saw that. His back was lumpy.
Huh.
Maybe it's just because the outfit isn't
Probably
fitting right. She looks so uncomfortable.
That's just so weird that they're in, they're in uniform. They're apparently like on duty, and she doesn't really have to call him sir or commander.
Well, they're in dating mode.
Yeah, they are, but still.
I don't know. Jem and I used to work in a Old Navy together back in college, and we had to keep our relationship a secret.
Oh, that's adorable.
I know, right? We would kind of mess with people to see if they would notice or not.
You guys don't still wear Old Navy, do you?
No, all those
Yeah.
clothes just fell apart within 10 months of
Yeah.
buying them.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't. It's hard for you to imagine you guys wearing Old Navy.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah,
Look at
but
that total reversal.
That was his program. That was like, that's what I'm supposed to say.
She's really confused.
Yeah, he's like, no, I wrote this program. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I did this one time. I felt really bad. Well, I didn't feel that bad about it, but we were doing an improv at work, and somebody was like, I want you to be this doctor that's a jerk to me, and I'm going to try to stand up to him. And all that I took from it was I need to be a jerk to this person. So like my response to them was like so heinous that it made them cry.
Oh man.
Yeah. I was
All
like,
right.
I'm sorry. Like all that I took from your instructions on that was be this guy that's super rude to you.
Mm-hmm. Now, Data said something very, very wrong or incorrect just now. He said, "Well, doesn't a fight between two lovers just strengthen the bond?" And I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't mean you just start throwing shit at people and starting fights for no reason and then have amazing makeup sex afterwards. That's instability. And there are people who are addicted to that stability swing. They know, well, we just have to take it to a certain point of conflict and then we can go back to a point of ecstasy. It's a wild pendulum that flies all over the place. And that's not a stable relationship that works for a long term. And I think Data is totally misunderstood the point of, well, conflict. Jem and I have had some doozy fights, but those processing those conflicts has made us grow together where we no longer have serious conflict. I mean, I think that's more of a normal relationship.
I was going to say, but like, Data again, we drop all the Tasha Yar stuff, but if this is his first relationship, if he's like a sexually active 15-year-old, this behavior is not that weird. That's how, kids that are, just hormone storms act. Or B, do the whole non-neurotypical thing where it's like you've got two people that like legitimately like that is how they do it. They like work it up, get into a fight, and take their aggression out, sexually. Some people do that.
Mm-hmm. I really wish we had Jada just call up Wesley, who is in the academy, and talk to him about this relationship.
I'm just imagining like Wesley, getting the call. It's like, oh, it's my old commanding officer from the Enterprise, and there's like this insanely hot alien girl there. It's like, oh, great, the Enterprise. It's like, I'll only be 5 minutes.
This terrified me as a child.
She's like, my ovulation cycle is only 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Yikes.
It's like, criminy, that I'll be 3.
Oh man.
That was spooky.
That gave me nightmares as a kid. How do you just re-dissolve into a floor like that?
Yeah.
But who moved the furniture? That's what I want to know. Who put it back? Who set the room back up? You think it was Picard and Riker just on their lunch break?
No, they have guys for that. Worf's security team. I love this. They're like, this is in 1991 the best Star Trek based video game graphic we could come up with. An Enterprise floating above a 3D grid.
Well, that's a really easy animation to do. Circles and lines.
Yep. I love that's like senior officers all in a row, and Worf's going to sit behind Riker.
Why isn't Troy or Beverly there?
Doing other stuff. If stuff's dissolving all over the ship, there's probably, little medical emergencies and people need calming down. So they want to run a shuttle in front of the ship to get them through these pockets. They're making stuff dissolve.
All right.
And all of a sudden, she's at tactical.
What? Well, she was working on a torpedo earlier.
That's true, but it's like you'd think if she was, somebody that was on the bridge crew all the time, that would come up. But that might be how they found out about her and Data.
This is not the first time where we had that pointless pissing contest between Picard and Riker saying, hey, this is my ship, and if it's gonna go because of me, and I need to do this. They did that in the where they found the ghost ship in the booby trap episode.
Mm-hmm.
Do we put the most experienced shuttle pilot in the shuttle? No. Let's put the captain. Just remember, sir, that's not the captain's yacht.
Yep. I liked when they used the joystick and what was it? Nemesis.
Yeah, that was cute. But joysticks aren't.
That was on a different Enterprise too.
Mm-hmm. Joysticks aren't 100% three-dimensional, though. You have aspects of 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional plane. So you're assuming that you're moving forwards and backwards, and you can pull up to raise your elevation or down, but it's still, you always have to move forward in order to travel in 3 dimensions or backwards. Well, we've got more space popcorn. Dark matter bloobs.
It's like, when I was a kid, I guess the stakes, seem kind of high. But anything like this now, it's just like there aren't any legitimate stakes here. It's just, the actors pretending to punch a lot of buttons, and then they just kind of talk technobabble back and forth to one another. It's not there's not going to be an interesting solution to how this particular part of it works. Data's story, it's playing with real things. You can link Data's story to, like you just did, to your own marriage.
Just occurred to me that they recycled this plot into Deep Space Nine, where Jadzia Dax was training somebody on field study, and all of a sudden a proto-universe showed up on the station, and they had to fly through the wormhole, and you had these weird spheres they had to avoid within the wormhole.
I thought they did like ship in a bottle with that, where they just hooked it into the computer core.
Oh,
or maybe I might think of a different one with a proto-universe.
Yeah, you're thinking of a different one. This one where they just tractor beamed the universe through the wormhole and then let it go on the other side, which just was painfully dumb.
This is the one where the computer like changed to a more like amicable tone of voice.
No,
and it turned out that had some thing, and it was a very early episode of Deep Space Nine.
Ooh, there was one where it was like a lost puppy episode. Yeah. This is how bad this episode is that we're talking about Deep Space Nine early episodes.
Just this part of it. I mean, again, 10 out of 10 for Data and Love storyline, but or Data pretending to be in love.
I never looked up the history of our young Jenna here. Oh,
well, you said she was in Space Travesty and
no, the character Jenna.
Oh, okay.
She
has some beta canon adventures.
Maybe she does. I'm gonna scan the interwebs really quick.
Beta canon, she ends up married to a rock.
Okay. Data's comment to the Borg Queen in Star Trek First Contact regards how long it's been since he's had made use of his sexual functionality would seem to indicate he was referring to his liaison with Tasha Yar. This would indicate that Jenna and Data were never physically intimate during the course of their relationship.
They probably weren't.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. She's breaking up with them.
Well, this is the other thing, is if he's using like a program of weird sitcom and movie tropes, one of the biggest things in that is that women do not actually want to have sex. They have to be coerced into it.
Also,
which Data's probably not going to do. I know, but I'm saying that where he's getting his information from, that's probably what they're telling him.
Mm-hmm. Not much of a compelling story here for Miss Jenna, other than what's contained in this episode, sadly.
Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, the joke would be if, like I said, she ends up like married to a rock, or like a creature that only like moves every 20 years.
Ouch. A pet rock.
Not even a Vulcan, but like some species that's like less emotionally compatible than Data.
So when I first watched this episode, now give me some slack here, I thought it was because it was her fault that the relationship failed. I was under the impression, mind you, I was a kid, that her emotions were kind of all over the place. She didn't know what she wanted. She didn't know what she was getting into. And she just threw herself in and then realized, this is not for me and I want to leave. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm watching it again, it's been about at least 3 or 4 years since I've seen this episode. But as a mature 41-year-old adult, geez, it's a mismatch of emotional intelligence and patience and how much work you're willing to put into a relationship, how much you're willing to acknowledge the other person, how much of a balcony view you have on yourself. All of those soft skills where Data's willing to practice those soft skills with her, and I don't think she's really that's not her bag.
Yeah, and she knows she'd have to coach him.
Mm-hmm.
She was having fun, like taking the lead, like pretending to be on a date with the O'Briens and kissing him a little bit, and that was fun. But she basically learned that, especially because him taking initiative was writing this insane romance program that she's going to have to do. It's going to be like 75-25 on her part if she wants to get the relationship out of him that she wants to have.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think that there is nothing wrong with both of the individuals' approach. It's just one was very organic and natural, and the other one was very calculated. And they were both looking for something that the other couldn't provide in that relationship.
Yeah, I love the end of this. Hello, Spot.
Oh,
such a good ending.
And
because it shows that, like, he can bond with other creatures. Blows out the candle.
Oh, cats will bond with the toaster as long as it feeds them and scratches their back.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Well, there it is. It's that was In Theory, and I'm a little underwhelmed. I think that everything that they could have done with Data, looking at it from the year 2021, that could have been a funnier, faster moving episode with some great comedy and some touching moments. I don't think that the depth of the relationship was really that complex, and everything just kind of seemed like Data watched all the bad sitcoms from the 80s and pulled out the stereotypes. The Orville made a really good jab at this episode where you remember that Isaac was wearing underwear and drinking beer and making fun of the doctor's weight in order to sabotage the relationship.
Yep.
And I was rolling. I was hooting and hollering because Isaac was more about, this is an analysis of your reaction, whereas Data is, this is an analysis about if I can make this work.
Well, and they really weren't truly in a relationship. They were trying to get to that point. They were dating.
Okay.
What I see is that they had like 3 dates in this episode. I think a relationship requires like more than what they had going on there.
All right.
I don't think they were ever, they were ever like an exclusive, like they'd worked together and made, a partnership. They were just trying to see if they could do that. It turned out they couldn't. I feel bad for Data because, and this is, why, the episode hit me a little bit hard, is because Data looks at it and goes, oh, I can't do this. Not how he should look at it and go, I can't do this with her, or shouldn't do this with her. I think Data, in theory, could do that if he worked at it.
Okay, so some analysis or further on. So I did discover there is some beta canon here.
Oh, nice.
Nothing too big. She was aboard the Enterprise E for a little bit. She was the assistant chief of security, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
There was out of a DS9 novel, Avatar, Book 1, there was a few flashback scenes of this relationship in which we just watched, which should be kind of interesting to go back, and I'd want to read that novel and see how they cross-referenced it. And and so there it was. And if you're ever wondering, Gwen was her mother's name and Patrick was the father's name, and her brother's name is Luke.
I'm looking at that book right now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
God, I love the internet.
Yep.
Okay. So I didn't give it a rating. I'm going to give this probably I want to say 2 crummy gifts out of 5. Crummy data gifts. Soggy flowers. I don't know. I did not like this episode at all. It was Yawnsville. So, what rating did you give it, Pat?
I'll give it 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, we want you folks to buckle up your seatbelts because coming up next, I believe in about a week from now, we are going to have Redemption, aka Klingon Civil War, on June 17th. So prepare yourself, grab your batleth and some Targ blood and some blood wine, because it's going to be a doozy. Until then, have a wonderful day.
Why am I interviewing you guys?
So you're the guest.
So Sasha, what's a Star Trek
Hi,
Next Generation?
I'm the guest. So Sasha, what is Star Trek Next Generation?
Seek us out at Next Generation's First Generation at iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Music credits include Electric Car by Poddington Bear, Broke for Free, As Colorful as Ever, Glass Android, and Star Song by Lee Rosevere. Audio engineering by Sascha Shouties. Chief Meme Maker and episode cover credit goes to Matthew Kirschner. Logo and graphic art design credit goes to David Clawwitter. And special thanks to Patrick Delmore for working with other podcasts to make sure the good word gets out.
If you'd like to email the show, you can email us at nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. I've been Patrick Delmore.
And this is Sascha Shouties. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.
Good night.